I'll have a question to Kush as well on IT, but Sandip Agarwal is joined us. He's fund manager and co-founder of Sowilo Investment Managers, and important to ask him on this as well. Sandip, good having you. Thanks for joining in. I know we've had varied discussions around varied sectors, but today, Sandip, can't not talk about tech, right? Because yesterday was a brutal fall. And a clutch of notes came in, Sandip, which said that for Morgan Stanley, for example, saying that they believe that even multiples in addition to earnings could be seeing a downtake. On top of that, NASDAQ not quite behaving well. What's your fundamental view, Sandip? Do you see more downsides for Indian IT stocks?
Hi, good afternoon, and thanks for having me on the show. So if you recall and if you go and see your interviews of last 3-4 months with me,
yes,
in every interview I have continuously highlighted that IT is the space where there is too much of optimism which is built in and there is no cost which is built in. And right now what Street has started discounting is only a mild recession in the US. Still, Trump's cost of doing business is not in the numbers. In my view, that news, if at all it comes, God forbid, I hope that it does not come, because fundamentally, obviously, that cost has to be taken by the US consumers finally, but there could be big sentiment negative on that front. Having said so, I think that if any kind of announcement comes, that definitely is not there in the numbers, because see, this industry is very matured industry. You cannot grow this industry for large cap more than 6-7% year over year. And on that industry, you are already trading at between 18 to 25 times. So how much more multiple you can get? And any negative news actually will dent that 5-6% growth also in terms of earnings. I think that the stocks are still not at the place where one should, means I will at least look at buying. So we are obviously not in that camp which will be buying these stocks.
And Sandip, curious to know your views with regard to a couple of auto names as well. We were just discussing before you came in that we've got the likes of a Tata Motors, a Hero, which have corrected substantially from their 52-week highs. Is auto the pack that one should look at as part of this correction? Is that where the opportunity lies?
We are looking at auto pack now very, very positively. So we have taken a good rest for last few months. And thankfully, we saved a lot of downside in that. And now we have started relooking, but we are not still jumping the gun and shooting. But we definitely are looking at the sector again. We feel that, from valuation perspective, it has corrected quite a bit and looking attractive. But, I will not rule out another 10-15% downside before, it makes a bottom. But I think we are very close to bottom, and this sector will not make money immediately. But I believe that for the way we look at for long term, it can make good money from here.
Within auto, Sandip?
Stock specific, very hard to comment, but we are very optimistic. It is a contrarian call. We are very optimistic on two-wheelers.
Okay, interesting.
Non-premium ones.
Non-premium two-wheelers, okay. So that's where the pocket is. Sandip, also curious to know your take with regard to IndusInd. This is one stock where there's been so much chatter. Suddenly, you're seeing brokerages or analysts reduce their target price, but at the same time, the upsides even from here on a Nifty counter are anything between 30 to 60%, which presents, in some cases, more than that. But point being that, which presents a very strong upside, right, from here. Do you think that this is overdone?
So again, because we run a PMS, will be very hard to comment on stock specific, but let me put it this way. Banking is a business of trust. And, the premium of trust is very, very high in this business. So I think when that trust premiums, the trust starts coming back, then you will see all this analyst estimates also getting met. I don't think there are concerns about valuation in the name at all, because if you see the 9 months PAT also, it is quite decent. The concern is more on the uncertainty part, and I think once that fades away, then you will see trust premium coming back. So right now there is a trust deficit and discount. It will normalize and then premium will come. So it is a process. It will take time.
Noted. Well noted. Okay. And this is interesting. So Kush, coming on this IndusInd Bank, right? 678. Now the question is is there a trade here? It may not be a long trade, but is there a short trade here?
Well, such volatility best avoided. I mean, what's stopping the exchanges from taking this stock out of Nifty, right? I mean, if that is the only saving grace that we are seeing right now, perhaps that's the only saving grace. From a short trade perspective, also, I mean, multiple time frames, stock approaching the oversold territories, risk reward ratio not favorable anymore in the sense that the short support zones now come in at 640, 635 kind of zone. Bulk of the move already done and dusted. So when the stocks have such high volatility with such massive negative bias, for me at least, it's best avoided. So yeah, no trade on IndusInd Bank just yet.
Okay, this was widely anticipated, Harsh, and it's come out. Anushi was talking about this, and we'll get her in a moment from now. But a preferential allotment of 1.3 crore shares at around the same price to Blackstone. And this is very interesting. Now, we need to figure out 1.3 crores is resulting in what kind of stake sale, pre-money or post-money as the case may be. But that is what we will get in a moment from now. But this is very interesting that Blackstone is buying stake in yet another company in India. Remember, they have a long history of buying into operating assets and then growing them and scaling them. Do they do the same thing with Kolte Patil? Is that a big shot in the arm for this one? Is the key question, Harsh. And I know Sandip Agarwal doesn't talk stocks. So Sandip, I don't want you to talk about Kolte Patil specifically. But the fact that I'm presuming here, I don't know the exact math, but I'm presuming that they've taken a large stake because Blackstone doesn't come for chump change per se. But the fact that a large global entity like Blackstone taking a stake in a mid-sized developer, would you believe that everything else going right over the medium to the longer term, it becomes, it sets the stage for a good investment opportunity?
So I will give you a different kind of perspective on this, because if you see last 2 years, we have seen private equities consistently being on the selling side. Now, 1.5 months, I am seeing consistently, private equities are coming and buying big chunks. And I can tell you with a lot of confidence that all these transactions are happening between 20 to 60% discount than at their peak, right? So I think private equities are again reinvesting, which also says you that, probably things are now coming back to normalcy in terms of valuation for our markets. So you will see this trend every time that, for 3-4 years, private equity will consistently putting money. And then for 3-4 years, they will consistently sell and get out. And I think now what we are seeing is that no more sale we are hearing from the private equity big size, but we are seeing big amount of money being put by private equity in last 1.5 months. So I think it is a clear sign that, markets are now more rational than earlier, and there is a increasing appetite for again to come in big chunks.
417 crores is what they're looking to put in. Stock turning green as well.
Market cap, 2,500 crores, right?
Yes, and Anushi is in fact standing by. Anushi, give us perspective.
Right, so what we are looking at for Kolte Patil is that they are planning to raise up to 417 crore. This is through the preferential issue that they are seeing, and this is going to trigger an open offer since they are making this preferential issue wherein 26% of the stake is being sold off to Blackstone, and this is happening at a price of around 329. So this 329 is what we are seeing is currently about 3% discount to the current market price is what we are seeing. We have seen a couple of real estate companies recently that they have been raising funds for the business development purposes for the company, but this is on the QIP route or the rights issue route that we have seen. We had about 9 to 10 companies in the real estate space which have raised funds for the purpose of business development. This one was quite an interesting one where we have seen Blackstone picking up stake in the company. This is the real estate arm of Blackstone which has picked up stake and about 26% of the stake. So a big development. They are going to be raising about 400 crore plus shares, 400 crore plus of funds for this.
And Anushi, sorry, just stay by. Perspective also with regard to what the fundraise is for, likely reduction of debt, and the stock is also at a very interesting inflection point. It's down 40% from the 52-week high. It's up 40% from its 52-week low. We've seen real estate companies raise near 52-week highs. So this one, in that sense, looking more interesting. But any idea on the purpose and what the use of the funds is going to be? Are they going to pay debt?
Well, that should be in focus. We'll currently await for more details on what is to be these funds utilized towards. But if we see what has happened for Kolte Patils now, you've mentioned about the stock price movement so far and all that. In the fourth quarter, the company has a couple of projects in focus that they have planned to launch and expedite. If it fails to do so, they may not achieve their FY25 guidance. This falls in the bracket. Prestige Estates, Aditya Birla Real Estate, Kolte Patil, they all fall under the similar bracket. And to expedite the kind of business development, most of the real estate players we've seen raising funds to increase their business development for the upcoming areas. So this is something that we can see along with debt reduction on cards, if that is another possibility that we can focus on.
Okay, thanks for that perspective, Anushi. Rajesh, any view with regard to a Kolte Patil stock behaving in quite a choppy fashion last few minutes?
Parsh, we have seen a very strong rebound from its oversold trajectory. Stock has made a low of around 250 zone, and now stock is trading at around 337. So in a matter of 2 week, very strong rebound from the lower level. Looking at the near-term, short-term structure, stock is now trading about a 20-day, 50-day moving average, even now surpassed the 100-day moving average also. Previous swing high breakout is already done on the daily chart. So I think 322 is the important level to watch for in the near-term perspective. If it's able to hold about 322, I think some more pullback action towards 370, 75 we may witness in the near-term to short-term basis. So those who are already long in the trade can hold the position with stop loss of 322.